Hey guys! So last week we did a bunch of repairs in the van, and this video we are going to be showing you how Kevin repaired the Dometic fridge. When I was on my trip, it broke right at the end of my trip, and I was really worried that it was going to end up costing us a new fridge. And these Dometic fridges aren't cheap, so I was pretty stressed about it. I'm so upset if it's broke. But Kevin was able to fix it, and here's the clip of that.
So as you heard in one of Cindy's videos, her fridge started acting up on her. And we did some research on YouTube, basically trying to figure out what the problem might be with the fridge. And what we came up with is we think maybe the thermistor is bad. I think that's what they call them, is a thermistor. And it's basically a sensor that runs underneath the fridge area and regulates the temperature. And when they go bad, they don't read the temperature properly, and it causes the fridge to run and run and run, and it won't read the proper temperature on the face of the fridge. And that's basically what her fridge has been doing, is it'll just run, and it's actually cooling, and it's actually making things too cold inside there, even though the temperature will read, 40 degrees or whatever it reads on here. It's actually colder than that. One of the issues is looking for those thermistors. You can't find them, at least I haven't been able to, in the United States. This is basically what they look like. So there's a shorter one and a longer one. And the shorter one goes underneath the freezer side or the close side. And then the longer one goes under the other side because it's a dual zone fridge. And you can't find these anywhere, so I was able to find them in Australia. So I bought these, and they were, all total with shipping, it came to $60 US, but it was like $85 Australian. But after the conversion, it cost me a little over $60 for both of them plus shipping. And it took probably 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks to get here. And apparently this is pretty common with these fridges, and there's a lot of videos on YouTube, most of them that have this issue. They're in Australia, and they have pretty good tutorials on how they fix them. And they can actually just go to a local fridge place and pick these right up off the shelf. Unfortunately, we can't here. But hopefully this will fix it. I have a feeling that this is what the problem's going to be. And yeah, so I'm going to dig into the fridge. I got to take it apart and figure out where it goes into, and then remove the old one, put in the new one, and see how it goes. Hopefully it'll fix it. Alright, so I've never really taken this apart before. I'm just going off of a couple of the videos that I watched on YouTube on what they did. And I basically want to get into this area. I'm going to have to flip it upside down, or at least up on its end. And there is a compressor in here. So once I get all this complete, and if I'm able to get the old ones out and put the new thermistors in and put everything back together, I'll have to set it back upright and probably let it sit for maybe 24 hours and let the liquid in the compressor get back, to where it's supposed to be before I turn it on. But that's what I'm going to start doing, and I think it's just going to be a Phillips that I need to start with, and let's see what happens. I also want to mention that they recommend a thermal paste on the end of these when you put them in, and if you don't put it on there, then I think they may burn out faster or something. But anyway, so I also ordered at the same time when I ordered these from the same company, some thermal paste to put on these. It's like a white paste, and you should see when I pull the old one out, it should have some on it already, and then I'll just put some on the new ones as well. One thing I wanted to mention when I was looking into this and watching some of the YouTube videos on how to replace them, I read some of the comments, and one person commented that they called Dometic in the United States and they had told him that it's a non-replaceable part. Now, as you can see, it's probably not going to be easy to get in there and unplug that and reroute the new ones in and everything, but it is replaceable, so it's something you can definitely fix. These fridges are pretty expensive, so if I can spend $60 and fix it and have it last another 2 or 3 years, then I think it's well worth it. Alright, so I've got this apart. This is the side cover where you plug in for the power and everything. This would be the bottom, so I got it flipped upside down. And then if you come around, I had to kind of wiggle this out of here. There's not a lot of room, but when you come around this side, let's see if this will get in there. So you'll see back here there's a white plug, which is right there above my finger, that one right there. And then on the other side over here, let's see if I can get to it, there's a red plug right there. So those are the thermistors where they plug into. And the red one, I believe, is the shorter one, so that's going to be for the side closest to the compressor, and then the white one is the longer one, so that'll be for the side furthest from the compressor, which Cindy uses as the fridge side. So I'm going to work on trying to get these two out and then put the new ones in. And so I just want to show you right here. Here's the white one that I just pulled out, and it basically threaded through there, and then it comes down to here, and there's a zip tie right here where they got a zip tied. I'll probably cut that just to make it a little bit easier to run this through, and then I'll follow and figure out where it goes into and underneath the fridge at. All right, so it looks like you can see I'm pulling out. This is the one with the white end on it. I'm pulling on it, and it goes right into this where this black stuff is right here, and this is like a putty or something, so I think I'm going to pull that off. There's a clamp that's holding the wires in place right there, so I'll pull that off. They both go through there. I think the red one's going to go into that same spot right there. That's probably the red one right next to it. So I'm going to pull that screw out right there so I can get the wires freed up. I'll pull this putty off, and then it'll be ready to pull the thermistors out. So I just dropped that down in there. Hopefully I'll be able to get it out so I can put it back on. Alright, so I got the little clamp thing out. That's the, it's like a rubbery paste that was going around the wires and covering the hole where they go into. Now you can see this is free now. Both of them are free. And let's see, we're going to do one at a time so we can see which one's which. Okay, this one on the left here is the white one, which should be the longest one. And there you can see the white paste that's coming out with it. So hopefully this is the problem. You can see all the white paste on there. So this is the white one, this is the longer one. I'm going to grab the new white one, put some white paste on it, put it back in to where it goes, and then I'll work on the red one, and it'll be pretty much the same as what I'm doing with this one. Alright, so just to show you real quick, here's the new one. This is the old one. And you can see they're the same length. So I would think it's probably a direct replacement. These plugs look exactly the same on both of them. It sure will be nice if this is going to fix the problem and have the fridge working properly again. So I put the thermal paste on there. They call it a heatsink compound. And I don't know if there's like a certain amount you're supposed to put on. It pretty much stays right where you put it. It's kind of thick. And I just put it about the same amount down as what they had on the original one. So we're going to slide this in and hook it back up, and then we'll work on the one with the red end. Alright, so I've got the white one plugged back in, and now I'm going to work on the red one, which is right there. Tight quarters in here to get that out, but there the red one's loose, and then I'm going to go around to the other side. Okay, so I need to put the camera down. I need 2 hands to get this out. Okay, so I've got both thermistors back in, and now I'm going to put the little clamp thing back around the wire and put that back in, and then I'll plug I haven't plugged the red one in. I'll plug that one in a minute, and then put a zip tie back around those other wires. Okay, so I have the little wire clamp back in. I got the black putty stuff back on, and now I'm going to plug the red wire in, zip tie everything up, put it back together. Alright, so I got them both plugged back in. That's all tidied up. Got these wires zip tied back together like they were. And now I'm just gonna put all this back together and flip it back over on its top so it can sit for probably 24 hours before I turn it back on and see if it fixed it. There's definitely a lot of screws that are on the bottom of this thing, holding it together. So all total I probably spent maybe a couple hours on this, but mainly because I wasn't sure what I was getting into and I had to kind of look and see what I was doing as I was taking it apart. Alright, so the fridge has been sitting now for probably about 16 hours. I went ahead and plugged it in, turned it on, and it actually started at about 82 degrees, and now it's down to 78 to 73. Seems to be working properly so far. It's switching from side to side, so it'll bring one side down and then switch over to the other side and start bringing that side down. And it's been doing that, so we're gonna keep an eye on it and see if it continues to work properly. Okay, so I've had the fridge running for about three and a half hours now, and I have it set to 40 and 18, and it seems like it's maintaining pretty well. Right now it says 41 and 20, but it has been kicking on and shutting off as needed to maintain the temperature. So I'm going to call this fixed. Next, we just need to put it back into the van, get it all plugged in, and make sure. Right now I have it on AC power, so I just want to get it back in the van, plug it into the 12-volt power, and make sure that everything's going to work fine with the 12-volt power. So I've got the fridge installed back into the van, and right now it's hooked up to 12-volt power, and it is drawing basically about 4 amps. All right, so that's going to wrap up this repair. It actually went pretty well. It took me about 2 hours to do. Might have been a little bit less, hour and a half, 2 hours, mainly because I was trying to figure it out as I went along, and I did watch a couple YouTube videos as I was doing it to make sure I was doing it correctly. There is some good information out there on how to repair these if the thermistor goes bad in your fridge. I believe with the cost of the fridge, the $60 and even waiting on shipping from getting it from Australia was well worth the cost to fix this fridge and have it working properly again. When the van sits in the driveway and she's not traveling with it, the fridge actually stayed on at 50 degrees. She maintained 50 degrees on both sides with it. So this fridge has been running constantly for probably 2 years, maybe even 2.5 years. And then, you know, on her last trip, she had the problem where it was not turning off, and obviously the thermistors went bad. But I think that's pretty good for this thing to run for a solid 2 years without shutting off. Of course, when she takes her trips, she puts the temperatures down to where she wants them. And then when she gets back home, she brings it back up to 50 degrees and just leaves it running in here. Dometic's a pretty good fridge. I think the compressor and everything's going to last forever. There's obviously a little bit of problem with the thermistors, but overall, I think it's a really good fridge, and for the most part, a reliable fridge. And if that's all that goes wrong and you're able to fix it, you know, I think that's pretty good. So that's it for this repair, and hopefully it was helpful to somebody. Maybe you've got a fridge that is doing kind of the same thing. It just keeps running and running and running, and it won't shut off. The temperature's not reading right. There's a good chance your thermistors are bad, and hopefully you'll get some use out of this video. There's some other ones out there as well that are helpful and you can use to see how to repair it. And so that's it, and we'll talk to you later.
So the fridge is running great now, and I'm so happy that he was able to fix it. I hope that you guys found this helpful. If you have a Dometic fridge or you're thinking about getting one, Dometic might tell you that you can't fix it, but if you can find the part, you can definitely fix it. And we'll put a link in the description of where Kevin found the part. But this weekend, we are headed out and gonna take a trip in the RV, and we'll take you along with us the next time. Bye.
Bye.